Welcome to Predator Minute, the podcast that breaks down the 1987 action, sci-fi, shoot-'em-up classic, Predator, 1 minute at a time. I'm John Zabriskie.
And I am Jeff Glover.
And today we're talking minute 49 of Predator. You could call minute 49 the NFL Hall of Famer Bobby Mitchell of minutes.
Oh, an NFL player.
Yeah.
You mixed it up. I still don't know this one.
I do not know who Bobby Mitchell is either. So if you know who Bobby Mitchell is, drop us a line.
All right.
Yeah.
Do you know who he played for?
I do not.
Oh, okay.
I just saw he's a Hall of Famer for the American football. So
all
there
right.
you go.
Well, cool. Good for you, Bobby. Way to be a Hall of Famer. Yeah.
Way to go, Bobby. And we're talking a Hall of Fame minute here in Predator with a lot of jungle shoot 'em up. Minute 49 opens with Dylan. Thank you. Joining the gun party and ends with Dutch, Dylan, and Mac. Looking into
Mac. Dylan. Mac.
looking into the newly cleared land, cleared via bullets.
Yeah. Oh, it's so smoky.
A little smoky.
So smoky.
So when last minute that we talked, they started this shoot 'em up in the jungle. And in my mind, I was like, okay, this will carry over a few more seconds into the next minute, and then it'll move on to the next thing.
Nope.
No. They continue to shoot at the jungle for almost, well, not this entire minute, but about half the minute. And then, but we still don't move on because we get a bunch of sort of reaction shots from everybody as they are finishing firing or run out of bullets or both.
I do believe they're still firing somewhere.
It's I forgot how long this goes on. It's really awesome.
It's the best. It's like I said, a Hall of Fame minute. It's like I said last minute, one of the minutes that people are going to automatically picture if you say Predator. And you're going to picture that. You're going to picture some of the lines. We talked about that. I did a whole line supercut last minute.
You did. What's got Billy so spooked?
So spooked.
What's got Billy so spooked? This is iconic. And we get even more gunfire here, I think, in this minute than we did last minute.
Yes.
And we also see, we'll talk about it more, but we see Dylan joining the team as well. We hadn't seen him yet firing his weapon last minute.
Yeah, he's like running in at the beginning of this minute. It's so funny. Like, everybody's firing but me. I better hop in there and just lay out some covering fire with my MP5.
Yeah, and he just grabs his gun with no regard for Anna standing right next to him. And like he just grabs his gun, starts firing, and she almost looks surprised and like ducks and covers her ears. It's like, come on, Dylan, just give her a little warning or tell her to get down or something.
Get down.
But he joins in, and it's just a montage of bullets. And nice little fiery explosions from the barrels of their guns, and we get a lot of tree branches falling, dirt exploding, fireballs going up.
It's probably my favorite. Like those bullets have probably a really good range of probably a few hundred meters at least, and we have Ponchito firing his modified grenade launcher probably a couple dozen meters at the most.
Yeah. He's just lobbing them out there.
You see a really good if you freeze it at about minute or second 48, 49 of this minute, you just see the team looking out into the smoke-filled jungle wreckage.
Oh, it's just, it looks like a deep fog has settled in. It's amazing. What else here? Yeah, I love the quick cuts to Poncho firing that grenade launcher. All these glory shots where the camera will just be like a close-up of a side shot of the group, and you see all the barrels of the guns right in a row just firing away. We get some quick reloading from everyone because God damn it, they got to use every single bullet.
Yes. This is not a movie, or this is not a scene where they're forgetting that there's a little bit of realism in firing a weapon, which would be have to stop and reload every once in a while.
Yeah.
Thank God for realism.
When I was younger, like this is obviously an iconic scene that stuck in my mind, and I would always think about it as being one of my favorites of Predator, and I always just thought of it as like just sort of a gratuitous, gun shoot 'em up scene. But as I watch it now older, I think it actually represents a little bit more, has a little bit more of a deeper meaning in the context of the film. It kind of feels like McTiernan is trying to show off here that all the training these guys have had, all the stuff that they know to do, no matter how much they do it, no matter how great amount they do it, it's not going to work in this situation.
Yeah, and to your credit, that's exactly what McTiernan is reflecting on in the commentary. He's explaining that with all these 80s action movies showing a propensity to solve problems with excessive gunfire, excessive explosions, excessive bullets, excessive Dakka, which we'll talk about the TV trope more Dakka in a minute.
More Dakka.
He was in this scene feeling that he is in a way tricking the audience by showing them this extended scene of carnage and gunfire and explosions, just to show in the end this is doing no good for the team. This isn't helping the team at all.
Yeah, no payoff. Like the only thing they've done is just waste all their ammunition.
Yeah, as Panchito will say in a couple minutes, we hit nothing.
We hit nothing.
Yeah, right. So, well, that's cool. That makes me feel good about myself.
Yeah, good film analysis. Good catch in what the director was trying to do there.
I find that fascinating that he had the same thought in this. And so that's cool. And it's funny that he talks about it being sort of a commentary on 80s action films. And that's an interesting juxtaposition to the guerrilla camp raid that we saw earlier, which is, almost a parody of 80s action. Movies like Commando and Rambo and whatnot. And then you come here. And so, it's cool that, they just don't make them like they used to, John.
No, they do not make them like they used to. It's
cool to have an action sci-fi movie like this, have some real thought put into its characters and the scenarios that are happening, and even in the broader context of the genre that it exists in. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, nice analysis there, Jeff.
Oh, well, hey.
Yeah.
So tell me about this more Dakka thing. TV tropes?
Yeah, this is hitting upon the TV tropes once again. More Dakka is the art of solving problems by unloading as many rounds of ammunition at them as possible. And if you remember the jungle manual or the Army manual for jungle operations I was referencing last minute, that's exactly what the manual explains to do when you encounter the enemy, when you make contact, is unload as many rounds, this wall of gunfire. Sometimes you just need to throw a wall of bullets at the target, and the word Dakka, it's supposed to be an onomatopoeia, where people might say Dakka, 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 Dakka to explain, to try to vocalize machine gun sounds. It originated from the tabletop war game Warhammer 40,000, where some power up for the orcs, who are not known very well for their aim, is called more Dakka. So it's not necessarily improving their aim, but it's improving the volume of gunfire. And I started to list some examples, and if you have some examples for more Dakka for gunfight scenes where they're just unloading bullets and bullets and bullets at each other, feel free to share.
Yeah, I will see what I can come up with here. What do you got in your list to start?
Okay, well, I was immediately thinking about Last Action Hero, where he's on the roof and there's a funeral scene with like a big mob boss and all the mobsters are there. And Arnold has to, get the body out of there before it explodes and creates like this lethal gas explosion, which is going to propagate this war between the two mobs. So to do that, he's trying to take this body off the roof in the middle of this funeral, and then all the mobsters pull their weapons on him, start shooting at him as he escapes. He hops in the elevator, goes down the elevator, hits the 14th floor button or something like that. Elevator doors open. There's all the mobsters waiting for him, aiming their guns at him, and behind him he sees this chopper with a couple looks like heavy machine guns and a minigun, and he ducks down. The chopper opens fire and takes out all the mobsters on the level. So tons of Dakka right there to help him solve his problems as well as to give him some problems.
I have only ever seen Last Action Hero once, and it was probably 20 years ago, like right after it came out. I should really give it a rewatch. I don't even remember anything about it. I've heard it's like people love it. It's kind of become a little bit of a cult classic, I think.
Yeah, I think it's a cult classic for sure. It's directed by John McTiernan and stars Arnold.
Yeah, there you go.
Shane Black helped write the screenplay for it.
Can I throw in another Arnold movie I just thought of that does this?
Please.
Well, it's in Commando when Arnold is hiding in the shed and they all just unload their guns on the shed.
Yeah.
Get butted!
Right?
And he just happens to be hiding a little bit higher than where they're firing.
They don't think to tip their guns up a little bit towards the top 2 feet of the shed.
Hey, who else doesn't think of aiming their guns just a little bit higher?
Just a little bit higher.
Maybe the people in this scene right here in Predator. Oh,
perhaps.
Just aim it a little bit higher. Some other examples I came up with was, of course, Arnold shooting the same minigun as the Terminator in Terminator 2 when he's shooting all the police cars and not causing any casualties somehow, miraculously.
Somehow, yeah.
Thousands of rounds going off.
It's a great scene.
Yeah, wonderful scene. Again, same minigun. So old Painless coming back in another Arnold film. Dick Tracy with a lot of Tommy gun scenes.
Nice.
If you remember that movie with Warren Beatty, there are a few scenes where there's bad guys and good guys are trading gunfire with the Tommy guns,
and they do that great like old gangster Tommy gun, like coppas, and, like shake their hands while they're firing it.
Yeah,
do
a little bit of a lean at back, a little gangster lean as they're firing.
Yeah,
those things are just having huge muzzle flashes.
Yeah, absolutely.
The Last Starfighter, where they press the caution button at the end.
Can I do it? Easy. Wait till they're all in Death Blossom range. Fire!
Start battle. It's called the Death Blossom attack, where the spaceship rotates and just fires lasers every which way to take out the bad guys. Let's see what else. In The Last Jedi, the First Order is firing all the weapons on Luke, and then he comes out unscathed and brushes his shoulder.
Yep, that's a good one. How about Ed 209 and RoboCop?
Yes. It's like someone call a
unnatural. Yeah. Just unloads a few bullets into that poor CEO or vice president, whoever that guy was. Yeah, the executive. Yeah, exactly.
Please put down your weapon. You have 20 seconds to comply.
Somebody want to call a goddamn paramedic?
Oh, that's a good one. I wrote down the Sonny Corleone in Godfather, the way he's taken out. If you remember, he shot at the toll booth like 1,000 times.
Oh, that's right.
And he's still
good one.
He's still like trying to move after being shot so many times.
Yeah.
And then the last, of course, is a Naked Gun reference. And the Naked Gun 2.5, the police have a place surrounded with the suspect inside, and Frank Drebin comes up and pats one of the troopers on the shoulder, causing the trooper to start firing, and then everybody, including Frank Drebin, starts firing upon the house.
I love it.
Well, looks like the cows have come home to roost. How you doing, trooper?
Frank starts firing.
Yes. It cuts away at one point to Daniel Boone and Davy Crockett firing muskets wearing coonskin hats.
That's so good. Oh, I love that.
More Dakka. So if you have
more Dakka,
if you have more Dakka, more
a lot of good examples.
Thanks.
I was trying to think, like, there's got to be like some. I wanted like a Tarantino movie where they overuse bullets, but I can't think of one off the top of my head. So yeah, sorry, I'm drawing a blank now. Besides Commando.
Oh, that's a good one. No,
in
Commando's
there.
a great one.
All right, more Dakka.
More Dakka. Something I noticed was that this is, if I'm not counting Mac yelling just unintelligibly here, I'm calling this a dialogue-free minute as well as a music-free minute, where the sound designers have the whole minute in which to work without any music, without the score kicking in at all.
I didn't realize that, but you're right. It's just the firing of the weapons, which is great, by the way.
Yeah.
The sound design here is awesome. Like, if you watch this on a big surround sound system, it's pretty overwhelming.
Yeah, especially Old Painless with the bass.
Oh yeah,
so much.
That's
bass.
great, and all the branches breaking and the trees falling and like Ponchitos explosions here and there. Like, it's pretty great.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, should we talk? Like, the firing continues until about 30 seconds or so.
Yeah, just a little bit short, but yeah.
Yeah, into the minute, and then we get like a bunch of these kind of reaction shots where the camera sort of lingers on each member of our team for a moment. Of course, through the haze of the smoke, and we get Dutch, then we get Dylan. And we get Billy and Poncho, and lots of just cutbacks to the smoke. And we get Mac, and I have to comment on Mac's face. that open mouth. Yeah. He's just agape, and he leaves it that way. Like, for most of this scene, every time they cut back to him, his mouth is just hanging open and his bottom lip is sort of like drooped to the side. I don't know. I know it's not supposed to be funny, but it's kind of funny.
Yeah, it's an interesting choice. I don't know if that's meant to symbolize something that Bill Duke is feeling his character is emoting, or if that's just the desperation of Mac.
And also, like, I think he's like panting, breathing heavy with the mouth open. Like, that makes sense. He just got done firing that minigun, which is a lot of work. And here we hear the sound design that we talked about last minute, where as the gun slows down, the sound that they used to create that effect was a spinning lathe ending. Yeah, they would turn off a lathe, and that's the sound of it coming to a close.
Did you look up any footage of a lathe and the sound it would make?
No. Did you?
I'm right now doing it.
Oh.
If you look up footage of a lathe, like a large metal lathe doing its work, like really cutting into other metal or something else. Yeah, it is making that droning metal sound. That.
Did you ever take wood shop in high school?
I never took wood shop. Did you?
I did. I took a wood shop in 9th grade. We had a wood shop, and they had a lathe, and I made a bowl. It's a cool machine. Yeah. All right. That ends lathe minute.
It's a cool machine. So you made a boat. Did you make anything else?
I made a bowl.
A bowl. I thought you said a boat.
Yeah, no.
Sorry.
Nope, just a bowl. Everyone had to make a bowl on the lathe. That was part of our.
Okay. What would you be using a lathe for right now? Like, if you had a lathe in your garage.
What would I be using a lathe for?
I don't know.
Maybe. No, I have no idea. I have no idea. I'm not much of a woodworker, so it seems like a lathe would be used to make like spindles on a staircase. What do they call those balusters? A baseball bat. They could make a bat.
Okay.
I feel like we've been jumping all over this minute. Is there anything that we forgot to talk about? In any of the...
Gosh, the only thing I have left is that in the script, Old Painless originally is an M60 heavy machine gun, not a minigun. And the M60 heavy machine gun is Mac's main weapon before he runs out of ammo and picks up Old Painless, the minigun.
Old Painless is waiting.
And I think they made the right choice in making this the first handheld on-screen appearance of the minigun in history.
Yeah.
Because to me, it forms another character, it forms another team member, it forms another protagonist that I'm happy to see a lot of screen time from.
For sure. It's one of the most memorable guns in any action film ever made.
Yeah.
it's fun to see it in all its glory.
We can talk recommends if you're ready to talk recommends.
Let's do it.
All right.
Shall I go first?
You shall go first.
All right, I'm going to recommend a comedy that I saw that just came out on video or Blu-ray, and that is Long Shot, starring Seth Rogen and Charlize Theron.
Okay,
and it was really good. I like a good comedy, and unfortunately, I feel like they're harder to come by.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of comedies I watch these days leave me wanting more, or they're good for a short period of time and then quickly get shitty as they go along. But this was one that I felt like was good all the way through, had good, lots of good jokes, lots of Charlize Theron and Seth Rogen are pretty good together, have good chemistry, and it is somewhat of a romantic comedy as well, and that part of the story was done well, and the wife appreciated that. And it just came out. I think you can, it's not streaming for free, but you can rent it, probably Redbox it or something. But it's really good. So check out Long Shot, one of the better comedies I think that's come out this year.
Okay, so Long Shot, the best movie of the year, as Jeff says.
It's a masterpiece. After
Point Blank. Oh, I saw Point Blank. I'd give that a mild recommend. I thought.
Yeah, you watched it this week?
Yeah, I watched it this week. I thought what it did really, really well, where it was the music choices and how those were woven into the action scenes, especially.
For sure.
My favorite was they're fighting in the car wash and they're playing "I Saw You and Him Walking in the Rain." They're fighting in the car wash the whole time. It's so
car
clever.
Wash fight was great.
It was great. It's you have to keep action movies fresh these days. You can't
Right.
just cut away to Old Painless all the time. But I mean, that one, we wouldn't mind that.
No, that's true.
Yeah.
But sometimes you gotta fight in a car wash just to mix things up.
Just to, get a little clean. Speaking of getting a little clean, my actual recommend would be apple cider vinegar. I don't know if you've heard of this miracle element compound liquid.
Well, I've cooked with it.
Yeah, you've probably cooked with it. You might have even cleaned with it a little bit.
Never cleaned with it. No.
Oh, okay.
I've heard of vinegar as like a cleaning agent, but I've never actually done it because it's so smelly. So so give me your full apple cider vinegar. I want to hear this.
Okay, so many years ago, I'm suffering from this bad dandruff, bad psoriasis of the face, where like the skin is kind of scaly and like red and itchy and painful.
Yikes!
I don't know if you've ever
turning into the Predator.
I might have been turned into the Predator.
Oh no!
And it would have worked except for apple cider vinegar. My wife did some research and found that my wife. My wife did some research and found that apple cider vinegar can be used as an alternative, natural method of dealing with psoriasis and dandruff at the same time. It's crazy.
You just dunk your head in a bowl of it?
Well, it started off with just like kind of sprinkling it on my face and sprinkling it on my head and like kind of walking around during the day with that on my skin and my hair.
Wow.
And then after a while, after probably a couple months of this and like realizing my head smells like salad. The workaround just became that in the shower, like the first thing I did after wetting my hair was just spray the apple cider vinegar like in a little squeeze bottle, not like a spray bottle, but in a squeeze bottle, just on my hair, on my scalp and on my face, and letting that sit for a couple minutes and then rinsing it off. And lo and behold, like I am totally dandruff free and psoriasis free without having to apply like these really terrible creams or dandruff shampoos, because if you've ever looked at ingredients for dandruff shampoos, it's like all these metals are in there to counteract the dandruff that's going on your head, the dry scalp. Whereas I think something that happens with the apple cider vinegar is it's bringing some kind of balance, maybe some acid-base balance to your face and your scalp.
Balancing the pH or something?
Yes, that's my take on that. So if you
have you had to use the apple cider vinegar recently? Is this what made you think of it?
Yeah, we ran out about a month ago. Then I was going a few weeks without it, and the dandruff was starting up again, the psoriasis was starting up again, and I was thinking, oh my gosh, it's feeling bad, back to like old days bad. But then as soon as I applied it, like the next day, it was feeling better, and then a couple days after using it again, a couple days in a row, it just cleared up
and to normal.
Yeah, the skin is looking just normal. So if you or anybody you know has dandruff or psoriasis or both, I highly recommend trying that over like chemical laden products.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And all I'd ever used it for was making pulled pork.
Go make some pulled pork too.
Yeah, make some pulled pork. Oh, well, I'm glad you're feeling better and that your natural remedy was so successful.
Yeah, I'm surprised it's not more of a thing. I've told people about this in person, how it's worked so well, and people are disbelieving and really not willing to give it a try.
On your head and start eating your salad.
Yeah, leftover spills on your salad, then you have a little head salad going on.
Oh, all right. A very unique recommend. I like it.
Yeah, thank you. So, Jeff, where can people find you?
Oh, well, you can find me on Twitter. I'm K Carl _H Hungus 314.
My name is Carl H. Expert.
Jeff Glover on the Twitters. Come follow.
10-4. Roger. If you want to interact with Predator Minute, we are on Twitter as well, at Predator Minute. We have an email address, predatorminute@gmail.com. And we have a Facebook page devoted to discussion of the Predator Minute by Minute. That is the Predator Minute Listeners Palapa. Target the center of the Palapa.
Target the center of the Palapa.
Targets the center of the palapa.
So for Predator Minute, I've been John Zabriskie.
And I am Jeff Glover.
And until next time,
stick around.
Stick around.
Stick around.
Stick around.
Dakka, 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 dakka.
Hey everybody, this is Heidi
Let off some steam.
Bennett of Vibrant Visionaries podcast and Spinal Tap Minute podcast. And this is a quick little promo for an upcoming event that my co-host Sean and I wanted to tell you about, and it's Movies by Minutes Portland. Welcome to this promo, Sean. How are you doing over there?
Fantastic. Thanks for having me.
We're going to be meeting up in Portland, Oregon on Saturday, August 24th for live podcasting, games, and on the stage we've got the Movies by Minutes guys from Star Wars Minute. Actually, it's going to be a mashup of Star Wars Minute and the Godfather Minute.
Oh, wow. That sounds great.
Yeah, and then we're going to have the newly pod game. Rick from Mad Max Minute is going to be hosting that. Vibrant Visionaries, where I'm going to have the fellas from Open the Podcast Doors, Hal, which I think you could probably figure out which podcast that is. Yeah, and then just added the Cast and the Furious. So lots of live podcasting and some games going on. So I wanted to ask you about the game that you're going to be a part of. Why don't you tell me more about the Cystic Fibrosis Fundraiser Movie Trivia Tournament?
Sure. Yeah. It's a trivia competition between teams of movie podcasters and movie fans answering trivia questions about movies. In Portland on that Saturday will be the final round to name this year's champion. And this is all to raise funds for research into cystic fibrosis. The contestants can get hints from the audience for, I think it'll be $5 or $10 or something like that.
Yeah, so just a little bit more about the event. It is actually the third year we've done this. We started by doing a Movies by Minutes in Chicago. Mm-hmm. Last year we went to
Denver.
This year we're in Portland. Tickets are $20. It's a family-friendly event, and it's really a social event. So we'll have a break for lunch. We'll have beer and wine will be served, and then lots of live podcasting and just opportunities to socialize and hang out with fellow listeners, hang out with other podcasters. If you're a podcaster out there in the Pacific Northwest, we'd love to have you come and, mix, mingle, and swag swap with us. And so, yeah, it's not just for the Movies by Minutes listener, but the podcast listener and fan alike.
It's not a technical conference. If you've ever been to a conference for work where everyone's talking about kind of the behind the scenes stuff and the nitty gritty, there's certainly some of that. There will be experienced podcasters there. So if you're looking to get your own podcast off the ground and you want to talk to some people and get some input, there's that as well. But it's mainly for listeners. Listeners should, I think, would get the most out of it. See your favorite podcasts live on stage. And also there are a lot of folks that'll be coming in from around the country and around the world. The formal meeting itself that you need to buy a ticket to is just that Saturday, but we'll be around that whole weekend. I know a lot of the podcasters into board games. So if you're a big board game person, there's going to be informal gatherings of people playing board games. If you're into pinball and arcade games, I've been scouting out arcades in the Portland area, and there's a few that are not too far from the theater. So I'm sure there's going to be some pinball and video game playing going on that weekend as well. So it really is a whole weekend of fun and events for podcasters, for listeners, for folks that just love to talk about movies.
Sweet.
We should tell the fine folks where they can get tickets.
Go to moviesbyminutes.com/Portland. That's moviesbyminutes.com/Portland to buy tickets. Again, tickets are $20.
Listeners, we look forward to seeing you there.
All right. See you in Portland.